one thinks of World War I, images of trench warfare and armies attriting each other to gain inches across no man's land flood the mind. This elongated war of attrition led to an uncomfortable peace at the Treaty of Versailles. During this uncomfortable peace, and despite restrictions, Germany began to rebuild its army. In response, French developed a plan to minimize heavy losses they saw in World War I by getting a jump start on the next war of attrition. The term War of Long Duration became their rallying call. They began building fortifications along their eastern border with Germany. These fortifications were strong. They were made of concrete, steel, and iron. They all had impressive armaments facing this shared border. They would use a strong defensive line to wear down an invading German army. Any German army bold and foolish enough to try and cut across into France would face heavy resistance and heavy losses. These fortifications followed their eastern border with Germany and ran all the way up their shared border with Belgium. Belgium's neutrality and the heavy vegetation of the Ardennes forest was presumed to slow down an invading army. Many of us know the story of the Maginot Line and its now obvious flaw. The Germans first attacked through Belgium. Once they had gained that ground, they then hooked down into France and had taken Paris by 1940. Put simply, the French lost the initial battles of World War II because they were so focused on the strategy based on the last war that they couldn't see the emerging threat approaching. Now let's take a look at a less academic example. Jon Snow knew that the White Walkers were the greatest threat to the realm of men. However, he was still being menaced from the south because Cersei and House Lannister did not believe that this threat existed, and if it did not see it as an existential threat to their own existence. Jon needed to find a way to make Cersei believe that their threat was real and understand its gravity. At personal risk and taking time away from his regular duties, Jon went and captured a White Walker and brought it to Cersei and House Lannister to show them how real this threat was. It was this personal exposure to a current and emerging threat that helped Cersei understand that she needed to adjust her military strategy. The French army after World War I and House Lannister after Robb Stark was declared king of the North each became so singularly focused on one threat, an old and irrelevant threat, that they lost sight of the big picture. The moral of the story is that we all develop filters through which we see the world. Uncorrected, these filters cause us to become myopic, where we lose sight of emerging threats. My name is Matt Bowman, I'm a Marine, and I'm here to help. During this presentation, I will identify the myopia inherent in resident instruction, and most importantly, will present a solution. As a Marine, I take my guidance from the Commandant of the Marine Corps. The current Commandant's planning guidance directs us to think, innovate, and change to ensure our programs of instruction include greater naval orientation, and to leverage the investment in our 88XX community from the Naval Postgraduate School. Internships between the Naval Postgraduate School and the operating forces is how we will achieve the commander's intent and avoid myopia. At minimum, this myopia can cause a student at MPS to create an irrelevant thesis that wastes the 24 months that they were sent here to think deeply about a problem of great importance to their service and to national security writ large. At worst, myopia can cause significant threats to national security by allocating precious resources, time, people, money, and energy away from important objects and into an irrelevant or obsolete problem. My chief concern is that a student's connection to the operating forces, and specifically their warfighting community, atrophies during the 18 to 24 months that they are assigned to the Naval Postgraduate School. This loss of connection creates a cognitive gap between MPS and the operating forces. Students are only equipped with the knowledge that they have the moment they left the operating forces. While they may be passionate and well-versed in a particular problem the day they arrive at MPS, they receive no additional input to that problem during their tenure. Without additional input, a student's understanding of the problem becomes myopic. They know only what they know, they have no other points of view or updated intelligence. They're not even informed if someone else is working to solve the problem parallel to their own efforts. As a result, students create theses independent of the current and emerging threats facing the operating forces. Currently, there are individual efforts to accomplish this with varying degrees of success. Some departments have a mature internship program, but one that works only with their degree program or timeline. Individual students have made their own efforts by reaching out to units directly, again with varying degrees of success based on funding and timing. This should be a guaranteed opportunity, not one based on luck of department sponsorship or fleet commander interest. The way we solve this problem is by nesting students with units long enough to provide an information exchange that is beneficial to each organization. Students will gain an appreciation and cognizance for the current and emerging challenges, the operating forces, and can bring those issues back to the junior cohorts looking for thesis topics or to school administration to refine educational skill requirements. Operating forces will gain an understanding of the work being done by students who have 18 to 24 months to think deeply about a particular problem without additional administrative stressors. Detailed execution of an internship program will vary for each service, and even for warfighting communities within a service. Attempting to plan a one-size-fits-all program for all degree programs and warfare specialties is planning to fail. To be effective, an internship program needs to answer two chief concerns: funding and academic timing. These are the two chief impediments to students spending quality time with the operating force units. Services would program this into the cost of sending their students to MPS, and MPS would provide academic credit to the internship so that the experience is additive and does not detract from their degree program. The Education for Sea Power strategy states that preparing for an unpredictable and dynamic future surely means investing in more platforms and new weapon systems. But nothing will be more important than the investment that we make in learning and in creating a force made up of people who thirst for it. Once executed, the internship will benefit the operating forces by providing detailed research into a problem for which they do not have sufficient human capital to solve. It will benefit the naval education system by validating the alignment of educational skill requirements with critical skill requirements. Naval leadership guidance is clear: align education to warfighting. I offer a sustainable internship program focused on warfighting that fosters an information exchange between Naval Postgraduate School and the operating forces. An internship program with dedicated funds that fits into academic degree requirements and that has documented and repeatable processes which will remove impediments to this information exchange. An internship program which will allow the Naval Postgraduate School to invest in its intellectual human capital.